Young master, I know you do not fear ghosts, since all you have met have proven to be illusions or exaggerated tales. But not all ghosts are born from death. Some are born from love, and from agony that never finds peace, like the tormented spirits of the ghost brides scattered across this land. And like the man who could not move on from grief for his poor sister, a grief that turned him into the ghost master, a man named Jiang Kui. Still remembered the night he found his sister's remains. He dug up grave after grave until at last he found a familiar hairpin inside a sealed coffin. It was the one he had carved for her as a child, engraved with peach blossoms. She was only one among countless young girls across the land sold to become ghost brides, a cruel custom in which living girls were married to dead men. When they were young, Jiang Kui was loud and restless. Their family was poor, and their parents had no patience for his endless chatter. Only his older sister would listen to his impossible dreams. He loved her more than anything. She liked to look pretty, so he learned how to adorn her. She loved wearing her hair bound high, so he spent months crafting a hairpin just for her. Then one day, when he returned from the fields, she was gone. Their parents only said that she had been married. Married to whom? Why had no one told him? No one answered. And yet after that day, his family's life quietly improved. There was meat on the table. Their parents bought new furniture. His uncle wore a new gold-plated ring. Only years later did Jiang Kui learn the truth, that wealth had been bought with his sister's life. He could scarcely believe it, until his father explained calmly a daughter was born to help the family earn wealth, like an investment. Marrying a girl to a living man brought only a few months of comfort, since the dowry had to be returned. But marrying her to the dead was an ancestral blessing, wealth received without any dowry to repay. A far better deal. It was believed that an unmarried dead man would remain restless in the afterlife and bring misfortune to his family. Thus, wealthy households sought living girls for ghost marriages. The girl would be killed and buried alongside the corpse. Jiang Kui's sister was only one of countless victims of this horrific custom. Girls like Ri Zhenzhen, the blind lunar goddess, who was sold into a ghost marriage and only survived because Tianyin rescued her. During times of war and plague, there was no shortage of families willing to drag a girl into death alongside their sons. Those who arranged these ghost marriages were showered in gold for their inhuman trade. The cruelty of those words set a freezing hatred through Jiang Kui's spine. He hunted the ghost marriage brokers, soaking the soil again and again with their blood, until a small, pale hand grasped his robe. A young bride, no older than his sister had been the day she vanished, looked up at him from beneath her wedding robes and whispered, "Killing them is useless. There will always be more like them and more like us." Jiang Kui gently wiped the blood from her face and replied, "No matter how many monsters like them exist, I will kill them all." From that night on, the Ghost Master was born. He traced every ghost marriage, disguising himself and silently replacing the brides sold to the dead. Just as he once helped dress his sister, he painted his brows and donned bridal robes, more beautiful than the girl he was saving. Seated within the wedding palanquin, the moment it touched the ground became the moment the matchmakers and the groom's family met his blade. Yet, human desire was endless. Compared to it, human lives were far too cheap. He spent years cutting down those who upheld this custom, until the day he finally found his sister's remains sealed in a coffin. Then, at last, he collapsed. He could no longer endure it. He could no longer tell whether he was a guide for wandering souls, or a ghost himself. But then he heard rumors of a laboratory beneath Mistvale Forest, a place said to hold methods to revive the dead. Sun Buchi's laboratory collapsed in 954, releasing the toxin later known as the Dawn to Dusk poison, and giving rise to the fog-shrouded Mistvale Forest. Zhu Yu, the former river master and late wife of Feng Yi, led a group of Silver Needle disciples in the study of a cure, a pursuit that continues to this day. The Orient Pavilion later established Mistvale Prison to continue experiments on dreaming puppets. Beneath the prison lie the drowned corpses of Khitan invaders, remnants of the great flood unleashed by Zhu Yu's Dragon King 15 years ago. These lingering dead provide a grim source of experimental subjects for the Orient Pavilion. To Jiang Kui, this feels like hope. to revive his dead sister and bring an end to his agony. Carried his sister's remains there and continued the dream puppet experiments. Within Mistvale prison, Jiang Kui discovered numerous dream puppets still lingering, their consciousness barely intact and now bound to serve as his pawns. He employs a labyrinth of mechanisms and illusions designed to repel any intruders. Scattered notes, possibly left behind by the infamous grave robber Ren Shanzhong, suggest that he abandoned his raid out of fear. But did this ever bear fruit? As we have already witnessed what becomes of those returned to life through the dream puppet method in the Gleaming Abyss. Would his soul ever find peace? Would his sister's spirit ever move on, along with the countless suffering souls of ghost brides? As long as blind belief and immoral desire existed, there could be no peace in this world. Perhaps now I begin to understand why the master of the Orient Pavilion chose a path of calamity, stripping the world of desire by creating endless dreaming puppets. Perhaps next time we will speak of him, the one who appears allied with the Shimmer, ruler of southern Tang, yet secretly harbors his own ambitions, the founder of the Orient Pavilion, or in truth, the last emperor of the Tang dynasty, Emperor Ai of Tang himself.